All right, hello everyone. It's Mr. Barden here. You can't see me. I've purposely hidden my camera. What this short little video is going to be is just a quick intro to uh, the new interface, the new start screen for the newly released Studio One version 6.0. This version was released about a week or so before this video came out, so it's quite new. But before we hop into it, again, if you enjoy the video, you learned something, definitely consider giving a like, comment, and subscribe, and all the YouTube stuff. All right, it really does help out the channel. So, what we've got here looks very similar to what you may be used to if you have used Studio One 5. This is, again, the start screen that opens up when you first open up the program and the computer does all of its checks and everything and gets everything initialized. Again, this may look pretty familiar. There's not a ton of changes. Graphically, a thing that has happened a lot in Studio One is a lot of the corners have kind of been rounded out in a lot of things on the interface, and we do a lot more with icons and stuff just to make it a little more visually appealing and it's less text based in some places. I'll make various other videos that kind of go into some of the more details of the program, but for now, we're just going to focus on the start page and just kind of the very first few things that you see, what they are, and how they might be different than what you have looked at before. So, first things first, I have changed my color scheme in Studio One, and that transferred over from 5 to 6. So, again, the default is kind of this gray and blue. I went with more of a green look on mine. It was just a little easier on my eyes. So there are a few things here. Like before, you can see older projects that you've worked on, all present here with when you last opened them, and if you can't find it, there's no date there. So you can find all of your stuff and open it up, and you can filter this by different kinds of files here, or just the more recent ones. So that's very handy. You can just click on it and open it up. So if I went and pulled open this random one right here, it'll open up the project and we'll hop into all of this stuff in a future video. Um, so that's what's over here on the left portion of the screen. The middle portion is all about you. So like before, kind of up in this upper portion, you can put your various information here. So, who you'll see who this is authorized to. You can give a genre and a website, a picture, things like that. And you can actually add multiple artists here. I don't recall that being a thing previously, but you can add multiple artists. So if multiple people are using the same computer with the same license of Studio One, you can swap between artists. And then when you're exporting the data, the correct metadata about the creator, the profile here will automatically autofill. If you have it linked up to a SoundCloud profile, this is where you would see that. I don't use my SoundCloud very much, so I haven't bothered to set it up in Studio One, but this is where you would see that account and that information right here. Again, you can, from your songs, you can export, you can export song export mixdown right into boo 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 and publish into SoundCloud if you want. But I'm not here to go into that. That's just why that's there. Okay, in this middle bottom section, this is probably where you'll spend the most amount of time, at least in the classes that I teach on this, because there's a lot of useful information here. So the first thing is you'll see which audio interface you're using. If you have an external card like I do, you'll see it right here. If it's a presonus one, it will actually, that's what I wanted. No, that's not what I wanted to click on. If it is a presonus one, it'll actually autofill and you'll see the icon. That's where it went for that. Otherwise, it just kind of has this generic icon for other devices, which is fine. I wish it was a little more, but I'll take what I can get. personally, I here at my desk have a Focusrite 18, the Scarlett 18i20, and then I have a few of these other ones for more portable things. So we'll swap around to various ones for different contexts. If you don't see all these here, or it doesn't seem quite up to date, you may need to update or install the Universal Control application. And you can get that right from PreSonus, but Universal Control, basically for whatever devices you have plugged in. So if I turned on another one and things go beep, there it is. You can see what all you have plugged in that is PreSonus, and this is useful for updating firmware and having all the various drivers and things like that. So you can download this right from Studio One, and it'll see all your bits and update your drivers. It's a very useful tool, but we don't use it that much outside of those reasons. But anyways, we'll see that there, and you can see the sample rate and the latency, or no, the buffer size, I'm sorry, right here. But you can customize all that. You can click on the little name here, the configure audio device, in order to set some stuff up. So yeah, there's the block size, I guess is what you could call it. Sample rate, that gets set somewhere else on my computer. Anyway, that's all there, and you can adjust latency and sample size and all that stuff right here in this window. A quick handy thing, you may notice if this is a fresh install, particularly I've noticed it on Windows devices, but this could happen on other ones, that if you're using Studio One, then it is hogging the sound card. And basically when you utilize other apps, it's not going to let that work. If you toggle this option, the release audio device in background, then what that will do is that means that when you move from one app to another, one program or whatever on your computer, in Studio One is moved to the background. It's no longer the foreground. You can kind of see it's a little, the foreground application is highlighted on my taskbar here. Then it will release the audio device and let other programs use it. So if you like to have, something else on another screen, it's all, that's how you can swap it around with minimal effort. Processing, I'll just kind of put this on the screen. I don't use this very much, but you can adjust various settings. I tend to like things very high, but it does increase some sizes. So it's iffy. So we'll kind of put this on high, medium there, because it's not too nuts. But you can adjust other settings. Plugin nap is a new one we haven't got too much into. But there's also in this window, since I have it open, some other things we can work with. So you can change, this is where you can change the appearance, keyboard shortcuts, networks, things like that. Again, where things save by default, auto save, all that kind of things. But the more advanced stuff, but the most important one that we'll generally look at is the external devices. Or I should say generally in my experience and with my students. And this is where we can add MIDI devices to send and receive data to and from. And that's where we find it here. I have two of them on. My MIDI keyboard is currently off, but I have two others on, so we see them right here. And that's all of this right there. We can check for updates. I just installed this maybe 20 minutes before I started recording, so I'm pretty sure it's up to date. And you can just find out a bit about Studio One here. That's like this data. Woo, fun. Okay. This portion over here isn't going to take me nearly as long to go over, but it is worth looking at. So the news feed, this is where people from PreSonus will post various things, and it pops up here in the news feed. Honestly, I tend to ignore it most of the time, but it is handy. There are links to various handy videos, news and updates, and what's more important is being able to check out other people's projects. So let me just scroll down and see if I can find one. Not that one. Well, there may not be one right here, but what it'll do, a lot of stuff has come out recently and pushed a lot of things down out of the way, but they'll sometimes post other artists' sessions that you can then dive into and explore and see exactly what they did. It's a very handy tool to have. It just doesn't appear like there's any right this second, at least that I, didn't see. Okay, the last few bits that are here, as you can see, presonus made it. You can see when your version, when that was from. And then up here at the top, we have a little toolbar. So this is if you have want to run a bunch of processing for a bunch of audio files, you can start loading them in here to work with all of that. That's a whole other interface I'm not going to hop into right now. Again, you can do stuff with SoundCloud and set up macro key commands if that's something you do. That's what these all lead you to. This was standard in Studio 1.5 Professional. Over here, the icon has changed, but it's in the same spot. This is where we can see all of the transfers or downloads from the presonus servers. So this is all the stuff that got downloaded and installed today. And then over here, we'll see that this will kind of populate with more files, but this is where we can hop between different things. So at the moment, I just opened up this quick little song from a quick little sound design thing. I was just building some layers of older things I already worked on. But this is just right here, and we can just hop back to the home just like so. And if we had more things open, we'd be able to hop between all of them just with these buttons up at the top right. Other than that, again, we have links to presonus's various social media. We have options to make new files, open old ones, or join collaborations of stuff. All of that's just kind of right here. So that is, hopefully in a bit of a nutshell, the Studio One 6 start page. I'll be, like I said, making more in-depth videos about more of the things that Studio One does. And then since I was wanting to specifically show off the visual things on the screen, I didn't put my face in this video, but you can see my little mug right there. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, definitely consider putting a comment down below, liking it or subscribing to the channel. It is very useful, very helpful. I put out videos a few times a week on various topics, including some coding, original music that I put out, and some sound design topics and things of that nature. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely swing on back. I'm going to be wrapping it up for now, and I will see you all the next time that I see you. Bye.